Hey guys, Paul here, and this is another video update to Void Destroyer 2. Today we're going to talk about the new features dealing with capturing ships. So basically, what I've added is ships that can capture other ships. So here I am in the pirate base. Let's look at the ship capture screen. There is now 4 new ships. There's one variant of an existing ship that was already in the game. There's one new light frigate. There's also a variant to that light frigate, and there's also this little boarding ship. So boarding is done via these boarding ships. This is a gunship sized boarding ship. There's another ship that's larger than a gunship. It's a Corvette class boarding ship. But this particular ship, this Might, is actually carried by this ship, the Steeljoy, in these sorts of little clamps. And then the Mites are released from the Steeljoy, and then the Mites are the ones that actually physically capture the other ship. So yeah. So what's going on? So basically here you can't actually buy the Mite yourself. No matter what, even if you have the credits, you can't buy it. You have to buy the Steeljoy and then fly the Steeljoy to where you want to capture a ship, and then do it this way. And because this ship turned out so awesome, you know, thanks to my great artist, and you'll see it in space in a second, to get to appreciate it a little bit more, I asked him to make a modified version to include this giant turret gun on it as well. So let's back up a little bit. So every ship now, if we go info toggle, every ship has this capture resistance rating right now. So for example, this Killjoy has a capture resistance rating of 60, and that number doesn't mean a whole lot by itself. It's basically in comparison to other ships. So if I look at this capture resistance rating of 60, if I look at a smaller ship, the Rhino, this capture resistance rating is 15, so it's much easier to capture. This is a medium corvette, and this is a light frigate. So this medium corvette is way easier to capture than that light frigate, and that's, you know, because of their sizes, their relative costs, things like that. So then each ship also has a capture rating. Most ships have just a capture rating of 0, but this Might, a ship that can actually capture other ships, has a capture rating of 10. So basically the way I see it is there's Marines on board this ship, and a pilot, or pilots in some cases, and these guys will burrow into another ship. This ship will collide with a larger ship, and these guys will exit out of these areas and attempt to kill the crew and attempt to capture the ship. Yeah, so this guy has a capture rating of 10. So what you basically, to capture a hog here with a capture rating of 15, you would need 2 Mites. You would need to overcome that capture rating. So for example, for the Steeljoy, to capture it with a capture rating of 60, you would need 6 Mites to collide with it and then do their capture process to gain this ship. So that becomes a little bit of a challenge, right? There's some issues with that in terms of planning, making sure the Mites don't get destroyed, or just bringing enough capture ships to capture the ship you wanna get. Let's look at these ships. Okay, here we are in space, and I am in this heavy fighter, and next to me are these two light frigates with the Mites, and we're going to try to capture this Korea heavy corvette. So that should be pretty easy capture for these 2 ships. I made sure that this would work pretty smoothly in the demo for you guys. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to tell these 2 light frigates to have a weapons hold here, so they don't by mistake kill this Korea or hurt the Mites via friendly fire. I'm going to now tell the Mites to launch from this ship. I'm going to select them. I'm going to tell them to capture that ship. And I'm turning off time dilation. Oh, you know what's happening, guys? Um, I'm not an enemy with this ship, so these guys actually don't want to capture it. Let's try it again. Let's try it again. Okay, so this time I classified this Korea as a pirate ship, so we are definitely enemies. You can see their weapons are firing. I turn on time dilation so we would just have plenty of time for anything. But let's go ahead and do a weapons hold again. Let's go ahead and let's launch these mites. And now that they're launched, I'm going to give the order to capture. Let's turn off time dilation. And let's see what's happening. So, yeah, this Korea is firing on our ship here. And let's again just turn down the sound here. Not sure how much you guys are hearing, but I'm hearing a good amount. Alright. Actually, I'm still hearing a good amount. Let's do this. Might just be my speakers. Anyway, the mites are doing their attack run. I still have to polish this a little bit before releasing to you guys. I just realized their attack runs are a little too they're a little too long, so we'll clean that up. But now the mites are going into the Korea and slam. They actually make physical contact with the Korea, and that's to represent the boarding parties actually going into the Korea. Now, Void Destroyer is one of those games where sometimes good enough is is good enough. So sometimes these collisions are slightly off. I just hit time dilation again, by the way, guys. And sometimes they're really good. It kind of depends on the shape of the other ship. There's still improvements to be made, but like this ship is very rectangular, this Korea. So these mites actually contacted it pretty well. But it looks like all it took was about 3 of these mites, and they've now captured this Korea. And now I have a military corvette as my own. There we go. It's mine too, and I can switch into it. I could then also upgrade it at a base. I could make it my main ship, things like that. So this is the basics of ship capture. This demo was just really kind of small, just to sort of ensure that it works, but it gets a little more complicated when you consider that I sort of stacked the deck for myself. Light frigates capturing a heavy corvette wasn't that difficult. Plus, I might make the military ships a bit more resistant than civilian ships to captures. I'll probably do that. In fact, when I think about it, it's a really good idea. It would make sense that military ships would be able to be more resistant than civilian ships to capturing. Similar maybe with pirate ships. Maybe I'll do the same thing with pirate ships, but not as much as military ships. But sort of create this sort of hierarchy. Right now, they're all about as easy to capture based on their ship size and class. So yeah, I think this is a really cool feature of the game, being able to capture these ships, ships that you wouldn't be able to buy. You know, I can't really rationalize in my mind the person that the player is flying to a military base and buying their hardware. You know, it's like me if I was really rich going and buying a jet or a tank. You know, the military just simply wouldn't sell that to me. Maybe they'd sell a Jeep or something, or a Humvee. But that's about it, right? They wouldn't sell a destroyer or a helicopter or a jet, you know, not to mention a battleship. Yeah, so I think that kind of works well in the game world. So there's a lot of things to think about here. Like, for example, you know, right now these light frigates, these are pirate light frigates. So the idea is that pirate factions have the ships that can capture other ships. I'm just going to give you guys a bit more of a glimpse at this ship while I talk, just to see how cool it is, and maybe just give it a order so you guys can see its engines fire as well, which I think are really cool. I think my artists did a really great job on this. Every time a new ship comes along, I get so excited. Yeah. What was I saying? Yeah, so pirates, you know, it kind of fits that pirates would be the ones that have ships capable of capturing other ships. I mean, after all, that's That's the basis of piracy in our history. Pirates boarding other trading ships, stealing their booty, converting that trading ship to their own fleet. So I think it just makes sense. Now, some players might not really like this. They might not want to be pirates, but you don't necessarily have to be a full-on, Blackbearded pirate to get this ship. There's missions which you can do to raise your mission rank to buy this ship, that you can sort of kind of be a pirate but not be hated by everybody else. Plus, as the game develops, I'll keep working on creating elements where you can be a pirate, but there's also ways of getting out of being a pirate, like smoothing things over with other factions if you want, just so you don't lock yourself off from the other portion of the game, the non-pirate portion, the civilian bases, the military bases, the bounty hunting bases. But certainly capturing other ships is something that I think is a really cool bonus for the pirates. And I think it just only makes sense, in consideration of the pirate life. Um, yeah. So there's a lot of things here that are sort of problematic as far as ship capturing goes. One of those things is that you almost get another ship for free, and ships in Void Destroyer are pretty expensive. So in a way, this is a way that pirates could make a lot of money. You could capture other ships and you could sell them. So I still have to figure that aspect out. That's a big balancing issue, and I know how you guys are. You know, some of you, when you post messages and you talk to me and you're like, "Well, I have 100 fighters and the game is too easy," or you say, "Well, I have 10 giant transport ships and I'm just getting money left and right and the game is too easy," that sort of things. So a lot of the balance still needs to be taken into consideration with these ships. A lot of that sort of aspect needs to be worked on. But for now, I'm just kind of going to release it to you guys and just sort of let you have fun capturing other ships that you normally wouldn't be able to buy yet or build. But I'll just keep in mind that there's going to be some balancing to this. There's going to be some kind of a unit cap in the future. There's going to be some sort of consideration to this. Maybe you'll have to pay a little bit of money to convert a captured ship to be fully yours. Like, the idea is maybe you have to rehire the crew, or maybe there's going to be severe damage when it is captured. After all, we did see all those ships breach this heavy Corvette. We did see that, so you would expect a lot of damage, not something that you could just brush off. And when you think about like larger and larger ships being captured, like carriers and things like that, those are just worth a ton of money. And would just massively change the game in the player's favor, potentially. So that's something that has to be really thought about. Most likely what I'll do is, when these breach ships start capturing this ship, they'll actually cause damage to the hull of this ship. So in some cases, for larger ships, you'll actually have to repair that ship to make sure it doesn't blow up. Because, while this had like a capture rating of, I think, 20 or 30 or something, and this Steeljoy has 6 mites, which means it can capture something with 60 capture resistance rating. But larger ships have like a capture resistance rating of like 300. So we need several Steeljoys or the other capture ship that we have in the game. What else? Yeah, so there's been a bunch of work, right? So there's been a bunch of work adding these ships. My artist did a lot of great work, and then I UV mapped them. Bit of coding happening, but also the one element that needs to be talked about is these ships having attached ships. Let me just demonstrate that. Let me pull up a save file. Grab a saved file, Steeljoy in space. Here it is, Steeljoy in space. So I'm in overworld mode. I'm going to switch to ship mode. Here I am in this Steeljoy. It's pretty lightly armed for a frigate. It's got defensive turrets, medium turrets, but really its main purpose are these mites. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to launch these mites, and I'm going to destroy 2 of them, self-destruct them. So before I started working on ship captures, these when I would switch back to overworld mode and switch back to ship mode, I would have all these ships back. But now I only have 4 of them because I blew up 2 of them. And if I were to blow up more of them, I would have less and less and less. So in this sense, the Steeljoy is going to lose its capability to capture ships until it docks with a base, at which point these get replenished. So that's one balancing issue, that you can't like go around just capture ships all the time. You kind of have to go back to base and resupply. Now in the future, I might make you pay for this, pay to resupply these mites. Right now, it's just automatic and free, but we'll see what happens with that. But that's another thing that I added to the game to make these attached ships a little more persistent, which means that other ships that have the capability of carrying other ships, like for example the Cutter G, no, so not the Cutter G, the Cutter itself has the capability of carrying ships, and that was a little over powerful, just always having fighters attached. So now it's a little more balanced. In fact, let's take a look at that. Just gonna jump into the battle editor. Let's load up a save file just to kind of demonstrate, just because, so we are all on the same page. Cutter, here's the Cutter. Make it a player ship. Let's launch the game. And of course, these guys are gonna fight it out, and they're probably gonna kill that Corvette, but I'm not too worried about that because I just want to show you guys the Cutter. This is an existing ship. It's taking fire, but it has fighters. So it has, oh wow, it has 6 fighters, huh? I forgot it had quite that much. Let's go ahead and launch them just for fun, right? Just so we get a little bit more dynamic, right? So now, if you lose these fighters, they're not going to just magically come back when you go in and out of, ooh, smacked into one of the other ships. When you go in and out of overworld, but they'll be actually, needing, you'll have to resupply. You have to resupply with a base to get them back. So what this means is that now I can work on adding a lot more ships that can carry other ships. Not so much carriers yet. You know, these aren't really carriers. These are more like sort of like a ferry, you know, like a ship ferrying other ships. But now that I've done this change where they won't just magically reappear, that balancing issue is solved, and I could just add some more of these guys. So I think it's really cool having a ship that can carry other ships. Let's see, what else do I want to talk about? Yeah, there's a few other things. I'm gonna pause the video for a second here. Okay, so actually, while I was waiting for my artist to punch out some of these new capture ships, I worked on a few little things that I've been meaning to work on based on your feedback and based on my playtesting, but actually a lot based on your feedback. So I'm gonna go ahead and undock from this bounty hunting base. I'm in a bounty hunting ship, and the way it used to work is when you undock, you would want to get to the overworld mode usually, and you would have to leave this sort of sphere, just giving you the idea where the edge of the boundary is. And this would take a little bit of time, and now once you calculated the overworld position, you were able to actually toggle into overworld mode, and then you can travel where you want it. But basically, this was a bit of a bummer doing it over and over and over again. So there was some suggestions how to deal with this. One of the suggestions was just automatically docking with a base from the overworld mode. And while, you know, not a terrible suggestion, I really like the idea of having a little bit of manual flight, you know, a little bit of manual docking, at least in the beginning of the game. If not later, with larger ships, it becomes a little unwieldy. But right now, what you can do is, if you have a high enough faction, you can target a base, can open up comms, and this auto dock button is now available. So I'm just going to hit auto dock, and there we go. Right, so it took instead of having to dock with the base manually, I hit auto dock because my faction was high enough via doing missions, and I skipped the docking procedure. So instead of just automatically docking you from overworld, you still have to switch to ship mode, and then you have to open up comms and request the auto dock. So while it is a lot more streamlined, it's not like perfectly streamlined like some players might want. But I think it's greatly improved. So that's from overworld to dock, right? But what about that first case where I have to get outside this sort of barrier? Well, I worked on that too. And now if you toggle overworld mode within this barrier, you're actually going to engage your gravity drive, which really boosts you far at a rapid distance forward. And then after this countdown, you're actually just going to switch to overworld mode automatically. So versus having to go outside the circle and then toggling overworld mode, you can use your gravity drive to fly forward and then sort of escape the gravity well of this. So basically these two things should really speed up the gameplay, especially in larger ships. And the funny thing was that when I played the game myself in my playtesting, I would almost always get speed boosting active abilities. The charge ability, which just really gives you a rapid boost. In fact, let's demonstrate that. Let's auto dock, right? I'm going to upgrade my ship with the charge ability, forward thrust, and gravity drive trigger. So as I was playing, I would constantly get these two abilities, and now I'm just boosting forward at a really rapid pace. And then so to me, this process wasn't so bad, because right now I'm back in the ability to go into overworld mode within a few seconds. But it became where I had to have that ability all the time. So it sort of became a requirement, which is a really bad way of designing a game, in my idea, of needing a specific requirement to sort of enjoy it. Now, some players didn't do this. Some players don't really use active abilities. Maybe they just don't know how cool they are yet, or maybe they're just beginning players. But it would just be kind of tedious for them to always wait that time to get out. And now that's fixed. There's also another active ability, gravity drive trigger, gives you a really rapid boost of acceleration. Yeah, so there are issues with this automatic gravity drive. For example, if I do it and I smash into something, that's one issue, right? So it's kind of unfortunate. There's an unfortunate side effect where there's a little bit of player skill. Before it was sort of foolproof in a sense for new players. Now there's a little bit of this aspect of the player might like smack into a base or something. But I hope that most players just sort of chalk that up to them just learning the process. What else do we have? Yeah, I guess before I sign off, let's take a look at that other ship. What I do is actually I go into the simulator when I test these ships to set up these battles. Let's take a look at the other ship, just to get you guys excited to play. And also for my artist, he watches these videos too. He can see the fruits of his labor in combat. So we're going to do that. Duplicate some of these frig corvettes. This should be a pretty easy fight. 3 heavy corvettes versus 2 light frigates. That should be pretty easy. Let's get some more fighters in, which is going to make the fight a little more challenging. Duplicate. Yeah, this actually might be a little too challenging. They might just kill me right away. but that's okay. Let's make another one of these guys. So now I'll have 6 of these. But this battle shouldn't last too long. Actually, yeah, let's get some more fighters, just for fun, right? Hopefully they'll ignore my ship and focus on these other ships. And I'm going to hit pause, tell these guys to launch, tell these guys to launch, and take time dilation out. And let's, oh, they are attacking me. Yeah. Alright, well, we can see the Killjoy with its giant gun shooting. I'm almost dead here. There I go. But let's switch to a Fury. Let's just look at the Killjoys a little bit more. That's what we all came here for. Oh, I'm almost dead in this guy too. Yeah, so definitely this this light frigate is a really sweet ship. I think there's still some work on it to be done. Potentially, for example, adding like torpedo launchers on the side here. And really, if I had the budget, I would have like a bunch of other variants of this ship. There's one of the corvettes being really smacked about by this ship. This ship's gun is a railgun. Is a railgun, so it's actually able to significantly push these corvettes with its blast. You know, this corvette is having kind of a. Is it? No, it's actually just fighting this guy. Okay, so it is getting pushed a little bit. It's kind of goofy maneuvering, as you can see. And now it's dead. This cutter's about to go, and these other guys are taking damage. Yeah. So I hope you guys enjoy these 2 new ships. I hope they become a really good addition to the fleet. The way I add these ships is I look, you know, I have to prioritize these. So the way I add these is I look like at what faction is missing what. And for example, this faction was missing a light frigate or a frigate even. So I decided to give them this frigate with the opportunity of really being necessary to have capture ships for pirates. Yeah, I think that's about it, guys, for this update. Next up is gonna be work towards capturing bases. It's sort of kind of fuzzy in my mind still, so there'll be some initial steps. It might take a little bit for me to get to the point where you guys get your hands on it. It might take a little bit of that sort of aspect where it'll have to be a little more polished than maybe even ship captures, which are kind of, they might, you know, I'll kind of leave it up to you guys to let me know the issues. I did a bunch of testing, but maybe not enough. But with base captures, there might be quite a lot more issues. It'll change the game quite a lot. I'm really excited about it, but at the same time, there's a lot of unknowns with that. We'll just have to go through those together. So yeah, guys, thank you for watching this update. Thank you for supporting the project. With your support, adding these new ships is a lot easier. If you're on the fence about Void Destroyer, hop on in. You know, with people on the fence with your support, we can get more variants of these ships, more new ships. My artist is waiting, and as you can see, I think he's really great at what he does, making spaceships for us to enjoy. He's definitely waiting on more work, so yeah, keep that in mind if you're on the fence of buying Void Destroyer 2 and supporting the project. So again, if you did, or if you're considering it, or if you told a friend, or if you're watching the project, thank you. You know, I'm very happy about this update. It should be live as of this post. Hopefully it's slightly more polished, and we'll go from there. We'll go through all the issues. Be sure to keep leaving comments, feedback on these and other updates, and yeah, we'll go from there. Thanks, guys, and have a great day.